That's all I had, other than the fact that I have a presentation I want to show you, but I just want to, if there are any other questions, let me know.
Or were you going to have Bill do something?
You're right. Thank you. I didn't write it in my notes, and I missed it. Bill is also going to talk a little bit about.
I'm pulling the strings back here.
Bill's also going to talk a little bit about where we are with activities for the rest of the year, including graduation and prom and all that stuff that unfortunately has been put aside at this point. So go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, for the past 4 or 5 weeks now, all the Vermont high school principals, and I shouldn't say all, but excuse me, about 2/3 of us get together every Monday. It can be different 2/3, but I've seen almost every high school principal in the state through VPA, and we've been talking a lot about end of year celebrations. We're all waiting to hear from the Agency of Education on what the guidance will be about graduation ceremonies and what we can do. And we know the Department of Health has a big piece in this. So
and that will be on Friday, I think, right, Bill?
That's what I was about to say. It's coming out this Friday. It has to be out by this Friday. We've talked about a lot of gamuts there. Also, the YouTube live event that we did with the senior class was very helpful. There's a Facebook group for senior parents up that the senior parents started. That's been helpful. We've been able to communicate through that. We've been writing letters every week or some sort of communication, not necessarily a letter, but something to seniors each week to talk about where we're at and give them any updates. A lot of it has been assuring folks that we're taking all their ideas. We probably have documents 8 to 10 pages long now of different ideas of way of celebrating, but that we needed to hear from the Department of Health. So it was a little bit of the first communication was, we really feel for you seniors. And for your families, we know this is a seminal point in your educational career, and we want to acknowledge that. But at the same time, getting into a lot of planning doesn't really help us right now without knowing what some of the parameters are. We've talked about everything from a total virtual graduation ceremony to some sort of gathering. There's been lots of goodwill. The community's been excellent on this, wanting to do lots to do. You've probably all seen the banner that Main Street Graphics took care of for free for us. They donated it. That's in front of BFA. That's up during the day. We take it down each night so it doesn't get damaged. But usually the class photo doesn't get unveiled until the senior yearbooks are distributed. So we decided to use that as an unveiling to keep our seniors kind of help their spirits. Some of them are in a pretty tough place with what's going on right now in their senior year. So more to come on that. I know next week I've got 3 meetings already set up with different advisory groups. We'll probably be putting it some sort, either separate or together, one group together of advisory from parents and seniors to help us with our already internal group that leads all the senior celebrations. So that's kind of where we're at this point, Jeff.
Thanks, Bill.
I'll take any.
I was going to ask you, what's the subject of the YouTube meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow's more an update to show parents what's it look like to be online with kids. Some parents are able to see it, their kids will show them, but if you have any daughters like mine, when I walk in their room, they're like, get out of here. I don't want to show you what I'm doing at school. So Tim Frugere, Luke Chaffee, Ross, Leanne, you're going to have to tell me, Ross
Lavoy and Ashley Oben Duncan
are all coming to show, talk about different parts. Tim can't be there tomorrow night, so he and I taped an interview with him this afternoon. And we're going to take questions after that, remind people of supports that they can access for themselves and for their children as well. And the survey is kind of that we've been watching it daily. It's kind of give us a couple things to look at. We had some specific questions for Northwest Tech BFA, and one of them was how people understood the new grading and attendance policy. And it'll be nice to do a little bit of a refresher tomorrow night, along with some other ways to get that out there. So.
And if people want to watch that, where can they look for the link?
We'll post the link on the BFA Facebook page. We'll put it on green and gold. We tweet it out 2 hours beforehand. And for those of you that were with us last time, we're moderating the chat this time to keep that going and just have questions, submissions, so it doesn't get into a side chat as well. And so Dino's been, I got to do a shout out to Dino. He's been tremendous in supporting us doing these things. And we're getting a lot of feedback that they're helping people connect and give a sense of community. So we're gonna keep
Nobody
going.
ever says anything bad about Dino. He's like the golden child.
He is. He's that guy. But I think Leanne and I are pretty much committed to every Thursday. We didn't do one last week, and we kind of got a few queries like, "Where was the YouTube live event, guys?" And I'm like, "Okay, all right."
Does anybody else have a question for Bill?
I just had a comment. I listened and watched the governor and Commissioner Levine today do their thing. And they did reference that they were going to talk about graduation and some other school stuff on Friday. But the inference was there's not going to be any group activities. I mean, it was pretty clear from everything they talked about that we're not suddenly going to have like a gym full of people or any of that kind of thing. Not that anybody really expected it, but it's going to have to be something really creative and alternative if we do something.
And the nice thing for us, Nilda, is that down south they're graduating right now from high schools, and there's a lot of good things on YouTube that are creative ideas with social distancing. So we've had parents send us quite a few that have some pretty interesting ideas. A couple of them that I really connect with, but we'll get feedback from folks about it, especially the seniors. They're the ones I want to get some feedback from.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
My favorite time of the year, graduation.
Joanna has a question.
Joanna.
Jeff.
I'm just wondering, Bill, the students that are on National Honor Society, if maybe they could be utilized, sometimes it's really great for kids to be utilized as a resource, but maybe they could be, if they wanted to, strictly voluntary, but maybe, helping other students, being a mentor or whatnot for other students with, either navigating Google Classroom or helping with work, whether that be even in the high school level or maybe even in the, middle school level.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Kids have a lot of time on their hand right now.
Yeah, we're seeing the gamut from kids with a lot of time to kids that are really overwhelmed right now and everything in between.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I meant about volunteer for sure.
Yeah.
So I believe one of the words you've heard over and over again is creativity. And it's true, the creativity that's going on right now as teachers are learning these different skills. I talked to a teacher the other day who said of a primary class and talked about the fact that she was doing a lot of lecturing and she didn't know exactly how to work with the online. And all of a sudden she had an idea that she picked up from a colleague, and she started using puppets. And all of a sudden the whole class changed and the learning changed. And they're learning these things and they're learning how to do it. So to anybody who thinks that learning isn't occurring, they're wrong from what I'm seeing. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's different. It may be not as intense as if you were in the building, but there seems to be some wonderful things going on. And I want to show you a presentation of one of those things. One of the areas you might think would be the toughest to do would be a music class with being online. And I know the music teachers have been saddened because they have concerts, and what is music? It's performance. And they haven't been able to show that performance because they can't have the concerts. So they've done all sorts of unique things like give private lessons or 2 kids or 3 kids in a class lessons on their instruments. But what you're going to see here is an orchestra presentation of our kids from Maple Run and also some kids from Missisquoi Valley, who are all string students, who all got together and performed a piece of music that they've been working on and doing it all virtually. And I just think it's excellent. I think it's excellent for two reasons. First, the quality of the music is excellent, and also just the creativity of being able to do something like that. So the conductor for this is Alex Charpentier, who is our orchestra director for the whole district. And Brenda, I think, is going to be able to put it on, present it for us. Right, Brenda?
Do you see it?
We can see it.
Brenda, you have to share your audio.
Yeah,
There's no audio, Brenda.
It's a setting within Zoom.
That was good.
Very good.
That's it for me.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, the next item is item 6C. I'd like to give an update on the professional contract and ESP negotiations. So I need a motion to move this into executive session with a finding that premature public knowledge would place the board at a substantial disadvantage under 1 VSA 313A1B, labor relation agreements with employees.
So moved.
Thank you, Al.
Second.
Joe, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0. Now on to new business. Item 7A, the Maple Run Continuous Improvement Plan. We're looking to approve this tonight. Kevin?
Well, there are a few changes in it. You've seen it, you've had the opportunity to see it once, but there's a few changes, and from a formality point of view, we still have to approve it. So I'm going to have Mona talk more on that.
Okay. She's here.
She's talking, she's muted.
I just unmuted her, I think. Oh,
Oh, sorry. So basically, we have to update our continuous improvement plan every year with looking at our progress towards our goals, creating a comprehensive needs assessment that will give us justification of why we're doing the work we're doing, and progress monitoring, looking at our strategies, what the schools are doing, and then presenting this data so that we can keep doing what we're doing every year and ask. This plan will be uploaded to the CFG grant, which gives us the funds to actually do this work. So every year, the leadership team gets together and says, okay, how are our students doing? We're looking at SBAC, we're looking at Lexia, we're looking at iReady, math assessments, Lexia as a reading assessment, and we progress monitor throughout the year. And the results are, in the end, we see what our goals are. Did we meet them? What else do we need to do differently? And then we do it better the next year. And that's why it's called Continuous Improvement Plan. So if you have any questions, I presented the data in the Continuous Improvement Plan and the goals, and basically a root cause analysis to help us understand what we're doing a little bit better and to keep improving. Any questions?
anybody?
I have a question. Yes, Susan. Is this information being used to somehow determine how successful we are with the proficiency-based learning? So proficiency-based learning is a way that we look at not only grading, it's a grading practices as well. So we have this targets skills. So yes, it is related to proficiency-based grading, but with proficiency grading, it's about mastery learning. So it's the way we deliver instruction and the way we give feedback to our students. So it's not as related, but it's certainly part of it. There are some goals that we have in the plan that target this. So yes, and one of the investments that we're looking to write this year is to provide a proficiency coach for the teachers at BFA.
So we'll be able to use this information to determine that proficiency-based scoring is better than the Carnegie Union scoring?
Well, no, not from this plan, no. This is just a way to help us understand what we're doing and how we're doing it, progress monitoring for curriculum, data, student skills, students being on grade level. That's how it informs us. But in terms of proficiency-based grading, that's a different, that's another layer that that is added to the educational program. And I don't know, Bill, if you want to chime in on that, but it doesn't really give you a sense of how we're doing with proficiency-based grading, not this plan. Any other questions?
Can you summarize the changes from what we saw the last time this was presented to us?
Okay, so basically it's in the last phase of this document. I'm going to quickly go there. So it's basically looking at what we've been doing. And if you look at, I don't know if you have access to it, but if you look at a summary of results in the plan, you will see that for each of the goals, we have listed related change ideas. What are the strategies that we've been using, and what measures have we taken to understand how we're doing, how that progress was going, and then results and progress. What else do we need to do? So basically, that's the only addition to that plan. Everything else is basically the same. We've updated it with the data. And then the last piece is, it's a reflection on what have we been doing for the last 3 years, and how have we grown? Have the strategies been working? And if not, what are we doing differently?
Okay.
Yes, Jack.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was adjusting my light. Sorry.
Okay.
If there aren't any, oh, Al, do you have a question?
No, just joking.
Okay. If there aren't any more questions, I would look for a motion to approve the continuous improvement plan.
So moved.
Thank you, Al.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Jack. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0. Thank you, Mona.
Welcome.
Item 7B, we have a unpaid leave request. Kevin.
Yeah, I'll be glad to take that. This is a person who will be on maternity leave. She's requesting some additional time past her regular family leave time, unpaid leave time. It's very normal. We often do recommend. We often do allow that. So it would be the administration recommendation to allow the additional unpaid leave time, and we've got it covered.
Okay.
So moved.
Thank you, Al. So the motion is to approve the unpaid leave requests. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Sue, thank you. Any further discussion? Pretty straightforward. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0. Thank you, everybody. Item 7C, new technology director. Actually, it's, what did we say it was, Kevin?
It should actually say new director of technology and innovation. That's the title.
Okay. So you're up.
So as you know, a couple of months ago, we made the decision to go with a centralized technology director, or director of technology and innovation. And we started the process. And I initially asked Bill Kimball to take over the first part of that search committee by creating a committee and being able to see the people, to go through the names, and then from there send 2 people to me. And from there, I think, Bill, I'll let you mention what the process was.
Thank you, Kevin. So yeah, on the 14th of January, we posted for the position, and at the end of February, we started our first round of interviews. We had 26 applicants that had applied for this position. We invited 6 folks to our first round interview with us. We had a committee made up of 8 of us that represented all the schools. Joan and Jason were part of that, and so they're here today to talk a little bit about the process as well with me and talk about Mr. Khatam. We brought back 3 of those folks from the 6 to do a second round of interview where we included all the technologists from across the district. And that at that point, we were in the COVID work that we've been in school closure. So that put a little bit of a delay in our process. And folks our applicants were great about that. They totally understood. So when we got that back together, we had 3 folks come for a second round interview, and we recommended 2 to Kevin. And that concluded, I think, about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, right, Kevin? Something like that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that second round was done through Skype, but it was appointments at each school with the technology staff at each school.
And other than Jason and Joan and you, it was techies from each school. Is that it?
Yes, we had, I should say who they are. I want to thank them. Erica Bertucci from City School, Tony Galley, thanks. Travis Vigneault, both from SATEC, Melissa Hayden Raleigh from BFA, and Tom Hebert joined us a little bit, but he had some conflicts with his schedule, both from BFA. We tried to, and Joan and Jason, we tried to really have the committee represent the 3 big aspects that a technology director has to work towards. And one is the integration of technology, the other is data usage, and the third is network hardware. So we try to make sure our committee was well-rounded with folks within the district that do that type of work. Thank you, Kevin. I meant to mention all of them. They were a tremendous asset and resource to this process.
So as Bill said, they sent me 2 candidates. From those 2 candidates, we had to winnow it down to 1. And he does happen to be on now. If you wonder who that unfamiliar person is in the blue shirt, it's Martin Khatam. So that was the process. I'm assuming we'd like to go into executive session to talk further on any issues.
Yeah, I would say that if anybody wanted to ask a question about the process, they could do it now, but otherwise I'm sure you'll have questions about the applicant, and so we'll move that part into executive session. Does anybody have any process questions that they wanted to ask right now? No. Okay, so then we will move the rest of the discussion into executive session under 1 VSA 313A3, the employment of an employee. Now we're on to item 8A, warrants. Alicia.
Will the warrants be approved as printed?
Thank you, Al. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Jack. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Item 8B, superintendent's report.
2 short things. First off, for those of you who might not know, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. Please feel free when you see one of our teachers to thank them through all the hard work that they've been doing throughout the year, and especially lately, because we certainly appreciate what's been going on. And secondly, if you haven't already seen it on our website, next year's calendar has been approved by the AOE and is out. Now the only question is whether we'll be able to follow it next year or not. But at least it's out and ready to go. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Item 8C, board announcements. Anybody have something? Okay, seeing none. Item 9, agenda items for future meetings. I think it will be similar to today. I wanted to ask, we had originally moved this meeting to the 27th because Kevin was going to drag me away to some mandatory training, but we won't be doing that now. So if it's okay with everybody, I would like to move it back to May 20th.
It's okay with me.
It's fine with me.
Fine with me.
Okay. It'll make the spacing better. You know, we'll be able to meet every couple weeks instead of having a gap there. So the next meeting will be on May 20th, back to the original date. Okay, so now I would look for a motion to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313A1B to talk about professional contract and ESP negotiations, and 1 VSA 313A3, the employment of an employee, inviting Kevin, Bill, Joan, and Jason.
So moved.
Thank you, Al.
I'll second it.
Who had the second?
Steve.
Steve? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0. We are in executive session. And now we are out of executive session and back in public session. I would look for a motion to approve the hiring of Martin Khatam as the Director of Technology and Innovation.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Nilda. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0. Welcome aboard, Martin.
Thank you all.
Martin, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just thank you all. I know it's been tough with everyone having to be social distancing to get the process through. So thank you all for the amount of time you put into it.
But we look forward to having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now I guess I probably should get a motion to go back into executive session. I think I got it. Okay, so we are now out of executive session. We have no further actions, and seeing as how we're at the end of our agenda, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
May 20th.
Carry
care.
on.